We've had high record rates of unemployment. These things are all going to contribute. I mean, if the society was starting to get rotten to the core to begin with, as far as the breakdown of the family and, breakdown of the school system, lack of education, lack of resources, you throw in the calamities that we've endured over the last 10, 15 years. We've had several recessions in a row, and what's going on right now. More people are going to apply for these entitlements, and more people are going to be unemployed and continue to engage in marital relationships, and it's going to produce more children out of wedlock. We're going to see an insane feedback loop as the problem continues to spiral. And unfortunately, family values, they just haven't been preached in our community to any significant extent. I mean, people like Shakira are lucky to have both parents together and they grew up and they witnessed it. But if that's not happening for you, if that's not your experience, you're going to start thinking it's acceptable to have children out of wedlock. And while there's nothing wrong with it per se, statistically, you're dooming your child if you put them in that environment, at least statistically.
So how do you think we should remedy that? As an African American male, I see both. I grew up in a single parent household, but when you're in a certain sort of social group, it's tough to find a woman who's going to be sort of not necessarily subservient. I hate to use that word.
It's fine.
But more of the dynamic where you sort of grew up in, Shakira.
Well, I think that what is missing is what subservient means.
But I don't want you to. I'm just saying to get on the.
Understandable.
Okay.
There's a difference between being subservient and being docile. I am a firm believer that there are traditional roles for men and for women when it comes to societal and family things. Now, a lot of my feminist colleagues think I'm out of my mind. But I grew up in a household where my mother is an extremely successful woman, but my mother still serves me and my father food before she serves herself. I grew up in a household where if my father didn't have the flu or some other major sickness, I wouldn't dare think of taking out garbage or doing it. Not that I can't. I can change my own tires. But that was a man's job. So unless we get back to understanding that just because you do something, it doesn't make you less or more. Even in cases of successful women dating a man, if you decide to date a man that maybe doesn't earn as much as you, then you have to accept that it's not for you to emasculate that man, because that's what's happening in the Black community. There's a huge, almost like a culture-wide demasculization of men. And this is the feedback of it, where men don't feel like they need to, men are comfortable living off women.
So you're seeing a sense of tradition?
Yeah, it needs to be restored. It would.
Actually, yeah, I grew up in a very African household, and it's very traditional, where obviously the woman has the traditional female roles, the man has the traditional male roles, and it works perfectly. And I think that's because there is no pride involved, and there's a lot of faith in each other. And I think that needs to be incorporated into families today in order to maybe rectify this issue of having single parent families.
All right. Well, thanks so much. We're going to wrap it up right there, and we welcome you to join us next week on Across the Aisle, where we give you politics from a different point of view. And I'm Saquan Jones, and I'm signing off on behalf of James Davermann, Shakira Jones, and John Mensah. Look forward to seeing you next week.